The bill that could kill general aviation is just days away from a vote. And I'm not exaggerating, folks. You must call your congressman and congresswoman now to stop this bill in its tracks. AOPA Live executive producer Warren Morningstar joins us now to explain why. Warren, is it really this critical?
Tom, it absolutely is. The House of Representatives could vote as early as next week on this bill. And if it passes, it could be devastating for general aviation.
But this will kill us. This is a big deal.
It is the 21st Century Aviation Innovation Reform and Reauthorization Act, or H.R. 2997. Now, the primary goal is very clear: to transfer operation of air traffic services currently provided by the FAA to a separate, not-for-profit corporate entity. And if the bill passes, the results could be dire.
If we should lose this vote next week, we could be up against the beginning of the end of general aviation.
Some 117 general aviation associations and organizations share that opinion. Last weekend, 10 GA leaders trooped out to Tarkio, Missouri to make the point. Now, Tarkio is home to Representative Sam Graves' annual fly-in, usually a fun-filled tribute to general aviation and warbirds. But this year, Graves' Pilot Town meeting turned into a referendum against privatization.
I do these town halls all over the country, but I have not heard yet from one aviator or aircraft owner that really wants to go privatized and believes a different system is a better system than we have today.
Privatization has some unintended consequences that can be very, very harming to general aviation. And your voices letting your elected officials know can maybe stop this in the House.
And not just the association leaders speaking out against the bill, pilots were vocal too. Ron Rentz flew in Canada before and after privatization there.
Basically killed general aviation. I just came back from a trip to Canada 2 weeks ago. It cost me for 6 days, it cost me over $600. Now, not all of that was air traffic control, but it's because of what happened to the air traffic control system and the costs of that it's a cascading thing. It's beware of unintended consequences.
And make no mistake, this would be a system by and for the airlines.
The airlines have been trying to seize control of an air traffic monopoly for 20 years. They want to run it for their benefit and everybody else's detriment.
If you're a free market capitalist, it violates every rule about free market capitalism because you're handing public interest over to a monopoly.
And to the argument that business can do a better job than the government running air traffic control?
Remember, if this is going to be an airline-centric model, all of the airlines except for 3 have gone bankrupt.
And don't forget how well some of the airlines have handled their computer systems.
The bill that is expected to reach the House floor in 10 days has the potential to devastate our industry. It has the ability to change general aviation and all aviation in the United States as we know it.
So, Warren, that sounds pretty scary.
It does.
What can AOPA members do?
Pick up the phone and call the office of your representative in Congress right now.
Urgent, very urgently. Make a phone call. It's too late for letters, too late for emails. You got to make a phone call to your congressional office in your home district or down here in D.C. to make sure that they heard you're opposed to this bill.
That's no to H.R. 2997. Now, you can find the telephone number by Googling, "Who is my congressman?"
Mm-hmm. And so why do pilots have to do it now?
Well, it's because the vote is going to happen within the next few days, and we need to get enough votes to kill the bill now.
But the Senate version of the bill does not include privatization, so why can't we just support that?
Well, not to go all Schoolhouse Rock and I am a bill up on the hill with you here, but if the Senate passes its version, which doesn't have privatization, and the House passes its version, which does have privatization, we then go to conference, and the conferees are some members of the Senate, some members of the House. And conference is a compromise.
Right.
You know, the House members are not going to say, "Oh, well, you guys don't want privatization, so we'll just take it out."
Right.
And there are going to be some things that the senators are going to want. So what comes out of compromise could still be very bad for general aviation, and that's why everybody needs to call right now before the House has a chance to vote on it. We have to kill it now.
Right. Okay. Good advice. So, and it's really not as scary as you might think. I called my member of Congress yesterday, and from a preparation standpoint, you think maybe you've got to be all well briefed and versed on this kind of thing. Not so much. All the person answering the phone wants to know is really what's the name of the bill and what do you want them to do? Well, in this case, it's HR 2997. We want them to oppose that bill. So that's the only communication you really need to. You don't need a lot of detail, and the intern answering the phone probably isn't going to take a lot of information other than asking for your address to make sure you live in the district.
Right. I did the same thing with my representative as well. And what's important here is that it be a phone call, because that registers much higher with a member of Congress than a form email or a form letter. So make the phone call. It'll only take a few seconds, and it will make a difference.
Right. So if you have more questions, go to our website. That's the place to be to find out all the latest information as this thing moves very quickly, and also to get the details. So that's what you need for now.